And I see Dr. Karen Patterson is with us. Thank you for joining us. Just going to read a quick bio for you, Dr. Patterson, who is a native New Mexican and first-generation college student with a PhD in organizational theory and strategic management from Texas Tech University. She's also an associate professor of strategic management here at the Anderson School. While at Anderson, she has taught strategic management at the undergraduate, graduate, and executive levels, and also teaches a course on competitive analysis at the grad level. Her teaching intersects with her research, which focuses on stigmatized industries and how these highly challenging environments still provide numerous opportunities for organizations that follow a mission-driven profit model. She's an associate editor for the Journal of Management Inquiry and is the co-editor of a special issue of the Journal of Management Studies on organizational stigma. She serves in the community as a board member at NMCAN, an organization that helps young people who have aged out of the foster system, the Roadrunner Food Bank, New Mexico for Good program, the UNM Faculty Senate Policy Committee, and is also on the Grand Challenge research team focused on decreasing opioid use in New Mexico.
So for that introduction, that is a lot, that sounds a lot more impressive, I think, than I actually am. So I appreciate your kind introduction. Thank you to everybody who's here. I'm excited and thankful for your interest in the strategic management and policy area. So I like to kick off by saying a little bit about what strategic management and policy concentration is, or the SMP concentration. So essentially, for those of you that have already had strategy, you know, strategy is sort of the place where everything comes together. So all of your previous business education comes together in strategy, which is why it's the capstone course or the last class that you take. And so with strategic management, the real idea is to help you see where all those different other parts. So if you look at all the concentrations that ASM offers, all of those fit together to form a larger organization. And so strategic management and policy sort of helps you understand how those come together, how they work together to form an effective and efficient organization. And so strategy, I think, is very good for people who want to make decisions at that level. And so this is also why we don't have this concentration at the undergraduate level. So because as an undergraduate, you know, it's important to get some of those technical skills and capabilities. As a graduate student, if you're interested in sort of executive level decision making or in public policy, it's important for you to understand, okay, my job doesn't just affect my particular area, whatever that is, it affects the entire organization. And so strategic management and policy concentration is good for people who want to be on that level, who want to think at that level, and who really like seeing all the component parts sort of come together. So within strategic management and policy, we have a couple of different options. Now, everything has been a bit thrown in the air thanks to our current situation. But the good thing about the SMP concentration is there are a lot of classes that we offer, and we really try hard to sort of fit the courses to the students' career goals. And so we're able to do that. Now, we've seen a couple different ways that students generally are interested in going with strategic management. And for those, we have two specific different tracks or specific concentrations for you. So the first one is the strategic management emphasis. In strategic management, you're going to focus very much on understanding an organization, understanding its external environment, and understanding how to lead in an organization. So again, this one is really focused on those individuals who want to be making decisions at the executive level of an organization. And that's whether it's a small organization, a small family-owned business, your own business, or a large corporation. You know, Presbyterian is the largest employer that we have in the state of New Mexico, and we have a lot of our people there. We have a lot of the strategic management emphasis going into Sandia's strategic planning area. They also go into the business development area. at Sandia. And then we have a great new thing that we've developed with a great new relationship that we're developing with the Santa Fe, the SFI, Santa Fe Innovation Institute, that works to help and provide guidance to people who want to create businesses that are good for the economic development of New Mexico, but also have an eye towards social and environmental justice as well. So this gets us into our next area, which is the policy analysis emphasis. So with policy analysis, again, this is very big picture, but it helps you sort of understand if you want to work in government, if you want to work in the public sector, this sort of helps you understand a little bit more about how those work. So a couple things we have here that are really unique. One is our Washington campus program. It's a great program that not very many schools in the nation have, that allows our students to actually spend about a week in Washington, D.C., really going through the process of policy analysis, implementation, and introduction. And so they work with lawmakers around the United States to sort of see how that happens and what goes into it. It's a really great program. We also have a couple others within there that are really useful. We have regulation and social control of business, which one of our state senators has taught. We have environmental sustainability and business, which is a great program that sort of links between understanding, for-profit organizations, but also understanding how they can help to further environmental justice within our state in a profitable way. We have lots of different other classes that you can take within our concentrations, including one that within the strategic management emphasis that I teach called competitive analysis, that really looks outside of the organization, helps you understand competitors, helps you understand what their moves mean for you as a business owner or as a manager or strategic decision making. We also have legal topics, which obviously are very important for you to know as a manager. We have leadership, which again is obviously going to be important in both of those concentrations. And then of course, ethics, which is one of our real cornerstones here at Anderson, is our ethics program. We were one of the first business schools to actually offer business ethics, and we have a really strong program here, really great leadership, and Sean Berman and Wellington Spedick. And so there's some great classes that you can take within this concentration. But again, we're also really open to finding what works for your career path. And so I think that's one of the beauties of this particular area. Now, the one thing that I will say, this concentration isn't for everybody. So I know we're here to sort of pitch our concentrations, but I think it's really important, if you've done a more general MBA for your undergraduate, you might want to go more technical for your MBA. But if you did a technical MBA or a technical undergraduate degree, particularly something related to engineering, related to a specific area like accounting or marketing or ops, all of those, if you have that technical knowledge, getting a graduate degree in strategic management and policy can help sort of shape you to be a manager or an executive in those areas. So that's sort of my pitch on our particular concentration. If there's any questions, you're interested in pursuing a career in ethics and public administration, so this would definitely be a good program for you. Again, if you're interested in the public sector, this is a really good place for you to go, particularly if you do have an undergraduate degree, maybe in a more specific area. And so I see on this question that you noted that there is an Mpa program. And so for public administration, I think it's a great program. If you're interested in sort of understanding how the public sector interacts with business, if you're interested in understanding sort of organizations more broadly, and then understanding how the public sector works with other types of organizations, this could be probably a great concentration for you. Yeah. So I see another question. Thank you so much from John Williamson. So it says, do you think students with undergraduate degrees other than business or technical areas can be successful in the strategic management and policy area? So my number one answer to that is absolutely. So I will tell you, teaching within the graduate school, I love getting students who are not necessarily from the business school. We have great students, they're wonderful, but people coming from outside of the business school also bring a really great and unique perspective to things. And I really enjoy having them in class. I also think that this particular concentration, again, because it is a little more high level, it doesn't necessarily require the technical skills that you get in the undergraduate business degree. But if you have those technical skills, like say you majored in art history, but you want to be able to manage an art group or a marketing group, or say you want to be able to manage a museum, this would be great for that kind of career trajectory. Say you have an undergraduate in engineering, but you want to be a manager within engineering. This is a great major for those kind of things. So I strongly encourage you to consider this one if you are interested in understanding more about business, but you do have that different undergraduate background. It's great for students like you. Thank you, John. I see a question from Kristen. Thank you so much. What a BS in evolutionary anthropology. Oh my gosh, I love that. With experience in a large corporate environment, focusing on skills, marketing, and management being an appropriate background for this concentration. Absolutely, absolutely. So there's actually a field of study called organizational anthropology, which I think is really interesting, but it's in a more like business focused anthropology. So again, I think this is, I think the background that you've identified here sets you up really well to have a very successful business career. I think if you get the MBA with that underlying knowledge of evolutionary anthropology, again, if you get the MBA, I think that just gives you a wider range of skills to draw from. It also gives you a little bit of clout in terms of hiring to understand, I understand the BS in evolutionary anthropology. So I understand the science, I understand sort of the hard data, but I also can understand, the bigger picture about this is how organizations all kind of work together. This is how organizations interact with their environments. This is how all the pieces of an organization sort of come together. And so I definitely think this would be an appropriate background for this conversation, for this concentration. And I think the concentration could probably help you along in your career quite effectively.
So we've got just a couple of minutes left, and I just thought I'd ask you if you could, maybe just touch on, some of the things. You're really involved in the community and you're on boards of a number of things. Can you touch on really your passion for that and how strategic management and policy background contributes to those positions?
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. I do have a real passion for my community. As I said, I'm a native New Mexican. If I can, I noticed a couple more questions got posted, so I'll answer those, and then if we have time, I'll talk about myself. So I see Mark Strobin, I hope I'm saying that correctly, said that you retired from the federal government after 25 years. In the National Weather Service. Would this concentration be good? So I will say, again, depending on your career goals, I think having that background of experience in a technical area, I think is a great background for then moving into a concentration that is really built for executive leadership or management. And so depending on your career goals, and I'm happy to talk about that with you offline. I set up Zoom meetings all day long. So anytime you want to talk about it, I'm happy to do so. But I do think having some experience in a certain area, particularly a technical area like this, you could go either if you wanted to go into a more a policy area that's more consistent with what you've done working for the government in the past, you could go into that. I think, you know, our environmental sustainability and business class would be great for you. But also at the same time, if you were interested in maybe working for nonprofits, you know, you could take a look, or I'm sorry, for-profit organizations, you could take a look at that as well, depending upon what you want to do. So yeah, I you know, again, depending, but I think your experience definitely would lead me to suggest this as a concentration for you. Thank you, Mark. And then I see one more saying that they are a current MBA student, and if they had specific questions about the S&P concentration, what it might look like with your career goals, and if we could schedule a meeting. Absolutely, please email me. I do my best to answer my emails within 24 to 48 hours. You know, like many of you, I think, you know, almost all of us, I think we probably all have 2 or 3 jobs at this point. And so, you know, I'm a homeschool teacher right now for a first and a third grader. But I love, one of my favorite things about this job is interacting directly and one-on-one with students. It's my favorite part about teaching, and it's one of my favorite things about this job. I tell people I'm much better in a one-on-one conversation than I am presenting. And so anytime you would like to talk, please email me. If you don't have it, I think it's on the flyer, but if you don't have it, my email is Patterson, Patterson @unm.edu. And so I try to answer my emails within 24 to 48 hours. But if I don't, email me again, because I'm an absent-minded professor and I might have overlooked it. So I welcome any conversations with students. I will say, I do think that part of this concentration, and part of being at Anderson in general, but part of this concentration is really, and my passion is understanding how organizations and their environments work together for the good of a community. And so I have become very involved in the community in New Mexico and Albuquerque in specific, but I also have a real heart for rural New Mexico. I'm from a farm in eastern New Mexico. And so I have a heart for rural New Mexico, and I really want to see those areas get developed in, again, sustainable ways. And when I say sustainable, what I mean is ways that will enable future economic growth that is both environmentally and socially just. And so I really, I work to try and help organizations and also help individuals to make strides toward that. In particular, I try to focus on people who may not have a lot of the same opportunities that you know, a lot of our competing schools, our students at competing schools have. And so we are a poor state, and we do have people who are a lot of first generation college students like myself, and I want to help those students. And so because of that, I am fairly involved in the community, both as a board member and a volunteer. And so I think my knowledge in this area helps me quite a bit.